Us via phone from Bauchi is the National President, Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Comrade Usman Dutse. And with us in the studio is Vice President, Association of Mass Communication Students, Yabatech Chapter, James Amfofun. Gentlemen, good morning and thank you for joining us on TVC Breakfast.
Good morning.
All right, let's begin with the ASUP chairman. You look at the long list of demands, bearing in mind that ASUP also embarked on a strike last year, and this appears to be a repetition of the norm. How really critical is this action, this industrial action, to achieving your goals? It appears it hasn't worked in the past. What makes you feel like it will work now?
Thank you very much. As an organized labor,
go ahead, we can hear you.
Okay, I said that as organized labor, actually we have various means of pushing our demands. We have been engaging government for a long period of time, pushing these demands, making agitations, as you have even stated in your presentation, that there was an agreement signed with government, memorandum of understanding signed with government, series of committees and meetings with reports on how to resolve these issues. But up to now, these issues are yet to be resolved. So the issue of whether this strike is going to be is the only way to solve the problem, well, it's part of the union's engagement. As we have said, we have given government leverage several times to address the issue, but government has failed to do that. If I may take you back, in this year, October, 2nd October, our government issued, our union issued an ultimatum to the federal government. The federal government called a meeting on 16th of October and plead and asked for additional time to address this issue. And the unions feel obliged and agreed and gave government time. Up until now, there is no any remarkable or significant effort that can convince our members that government are committed to resolving these issues. So at the end, the meeting we held last week at Yaba, our NEC resolved that the only option we have now is to down our tools and give government and allow government to decide whether actually they have attached importance to education or not, because there are issues. Education, we believe, is a significant factor to the development of every country. And this government for long, they have been calling on working on diversification of the economy. And we believe that cannot be achieved when education is not adequately funded. And especially our own subsector, which is the technological education. And it requires intensive and consistent funding by government, because our system of education is capital intensive. We are practically oriented. So we need adequate funding to have facilities, equipment, for the students to acquire the knowledge that can move this economy forward. So now, the community and the stakeholders the responsibility is theirs now to put pressure on government where needful, so that our students will not be left out of school.
All right.
And our system will continue to operate.
Okay, Comrade Usman, I'll come back to you. Let me bring Amfofun James in here. Now, from the perspective of the students, because generally when the government and the lecturers or the union, staff union, when they have their face-off, ultimately it is the student who faces the brunt of all of that by going back home. Now, how aware are students when all of these issues between government and the staff unions and all of that, now that your staff or lecturers may be going on strike, how aware are the students? How do they engage the students to understand what is going on?
In my own part, I would say the students are always aware when it comes to strike.
Okay.
Like, everybody wants to know the latest. The students are like, when the government and the body are always on the face off, the students, like you said, they are always on the side where they get to suffer, okay, which is not good. And the students are like, why strike every time? Why can't the body and the government find a suitable platform where they can resolve issues? Why strike? Because if they strike, they'll be the one to suffer. At the end of the day, they'll go back home and nothing to do.
But do the staff union, do they engage the students to tell them this is what is going on? This is why we have to go on strike. So please try to understand with us. Does the union, unions do that?
At all, at all. We the students, we are just left in the background like the strike will just come and will take us unaware and we don't have any say. And I think it's not proper. Before you do anything, we are the students, we are the ones you're representing. So before you take any decision, I believe...
You should be carried along.
Yes, we should be carried along.
You're a student with Yabatech.
Yabatech.
Help us understand the quality of education in your school. Is it so much in disarray that you as a student thinks that indeed the staff have to go on strike to make things right?
And it's justifiable.
Yeah, to some extent, I would say it's justifiable, but the level at which it's being taken, most times it's outrageous. Like the last strike, I think, because I wasn't in school then, those that were in school, like they spent like 3 months or more at home. And when they're at home, they have nothing to do, they constitute nuisance out there. So the level of education in my school, like you asked, I would say it's warrant strike. Because if you check, there are so many facilities that are inadequate, that are not in place.
Okay. Let's put you on a hold. Okay. We'll come back to dwell on this. We have Amphifon James, the first vice president of the Mass Comm Union students at Yabatech. We also have joining us on phone from Bauchi, the national president of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Comrade Usman Dutse. The first vice president of the Mass Communication Student Union at the Yaba College of Technology, Amphifon James. And we also have joining us from Bauchi, the national president of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics, Comrade Usman Dutse. Now, Comrade Usman, let me come to you on this. A lot of people feel that many or much of the strike that goes on, some of the items that are negotiated and sometimes the unions are unsatisfied with, have to do with just the welfare, or mostly the welfare of your staff, and not even much about the standards within the polytechnic system.
Okay, that is the common impression created by people that what we are agitating for is only for the welfare of our staff. But if you look at the issues that you even listed, the major ones have to do with the quality of the system. We are talking about funding, which has to do with equipment, infrastructure, and then working conditions. The issue here is this: if you have machines and equipment, you have all the facilities, the infrastructures. Those machines are not sufficient enough to deliver. You need human factor also in that factor, and that human factor needs to be motivated also in order to put in his best input in order to achieve the objective at the end of the day. So what we are asking is not only issues that affect the welfare of our staff. Quite okay, there are other issues that affect the standard and the quality of education. Thank God, even the other speaker also talk about the substandard and inadequate facilities in their labs, laboratories, and workshops. It's always there. It's cut across all our tertiary institutions, particularly the one we have in our sector. Our machines and equipment are dilapidated, are outdated, are not functioning. So therefore, there is that need for those things to be provided. And what I said earlier is that those machines alone, even if they are upgraded and they are updated, they need human factor to work. So, and that human factor also needs to be motivated also to work and operate the machines so that the objective can be achieved at the end.
Comrade Usman,
yes.
The fact also is that quite a number of the requests here are mainly about welfare. There is non-release of promotion arrears of members, persistent shortfall in personnel releases. There are quite a number of issues here that just has to do with pay for lecturers. But are you concerned about the threat of paralyzing the nation's economy. As we speak right now, ASUP is on strike. NLC is also threatening to, renew their strike if government does not pay them 30,000 naira.
Oil marketers.
Oil marketers are also, they have given the government an ultimatum. Are you really concerned about how all of these can negatively impact the average Nigerian at such a time like this?
Okay, before I respond to that, I want to disagree with you. If you look at the shortfall, the allowances and the arrears all are under one item, all the issue of salary. But if you look at the issue of the lead assessment, the review of the Polytechnic Act, these are not issues that have to do with salary. Issues that have to do with the system. So when you come to the issue of paralyzing the economy, I believe what is being demanded by these workers is their legitimate right. They are government workers. They are entitled to their right. There is nothing out of order or out of law that they demanded for. And you see, the workforce, the income of the workforce is what moves the economy. It's what ginger the aggregate demand that brings about increase in productivity and move the economy forward. And when you talk about paralyzing the economy, Nigeria is a very rich, it's a very wealthy economy. Our major challenge is priority. Where we attach importance and how we allocate our resources, where the challenges are. And these things that workers are agitating for are issues that piled up. About 10 years back, government has failed to address it. And no worker is saying that all these things must be done, like the need assessment and the rest. We say government can give a timeline. For all this work, government can give a timeline. 5 years, 6 years, what they can allocate quarterly or whatever within this period. That is what we are doing. We are not saying that government should do everything at the same time. But for salaries, these are things that need to be addressed immediately because our government entitlement, our workers' entitlement. So there is nothing out of order. These are legitimate rights. We are government employees. We are employed by government, and it's our duty to be giving all these things. No government official moves to travel abroad or perform any function without collecting his ESTA code or his BTA or without collecting his salary. And if this is done, and none of these politicians that perform any function without getting his entitlement, why should workers be denied? In the states, we have a state that workers are not being paid for about 14 months. Take Benue, take Abia, take Osun State, take Ogun State, take Edo State. We have workers in Abuja that are owing about 14 months salaries. And they are governors, they are house members of House of Assembly, they are rectors, their council members are collecting their salaries without and their allowances without any delay.
Comrade Usman. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Let me put you on hold and come to Mfufom in the studio. We're trying to manage time in here. Now,
okay.
You belong to a union of a department, and I know that you have engagements with other unions of other departments, and then also the umbrella student union government and all of that. You have attested to the fact earlier that the standards or the quality within your system actually warrants a strike if it has to be. So how do you mobilize? How do you use your unions as a pressure group to support either what your lecturers are doing or understanding from the government, as the case may be?
The thing is, like you said, the SUG as a body, it covers the whole union in the school. But for my school, we don't have SUG because it has been scrapped for now because of the violence in the election.
It's been suspended.
It's suspended for now. So we work in isolation, every department. So there can't be a combined force.
A unified front.
For all departments in the school to have a say, everything on any issue concerning ASUP strike or any other thing that might come up. So we just work in isolation. Anything they just say, we just have to.
So if they say you guys should go home, everyone
just
goes
go home.
Wow.
We don't have a say. We don't have a say. It's just like they are there making decisions for us, which is not supposed to be so. We ought to be part of the system also.
But at the end of the day, I know a lot of you are concerned about how this is going to push you forward or push you backwards, rather. You're not graduating when you're supposed to graduate.
Yeah, because the course of like 2 years, you end up using 4 years. It's,
All right.
it's not right at all.
We have to round it off here.
Alfonso James is first vice president of the Association of Mass Communication Students of Yabatech. We also spoke earlier with Comrade Usman Dutse, who's the national president of Academic Staff Union of Polytechnics.